Yeah, I think over the weekend we gave him a little chance to work on some things and maybe a little bit of a reset. You know, like we have talked about, we're going to get him back in there. But we kind of felt this Brave series was a chance for him to do some work, do some early work, get out on the field. You know, like you said, we got Scooble tonight, so, you know, he will not be in there tonight. But we just felt this past weekend was probably the good time to let him work on some stuff. He got out on the field early for 2 days. And hopefully, you know, something that'll get him started a little bit.
Awesome. Holding on to a roster spot for Rowdy Tellez, a guy who they had no designs on playing over the weekend, who is not going to play in game 1 today against Scooble because he is a nasty lefty. He's almost assuredly going to play in the second game of the doubleheader here with Grant Koch, I think his name is. Koch. Gonna take a stab and say that's Koch. Koch. Not gonna take a third guess there. It's probably Koch or Koch.
Yes.
Who's been a longtime minor league catcher. Because Joey Bart went on IL, he's going to be catching, you would think, Paul Skeens today.
They've caught with each other, I think, 7 times in the minors.
Yes, that is correct, Dorin Dickerson. I believe you are right.
Makes sense.
So he's going to play. You're going to have that guy and Rowdy Tellez in your lineup for Paul Skeens in game 2 of the doubleheader. It's just a guess, but it's an educated guess. You're not going to start the same catcher in both games. And that means you're going to have not a great bottom of the order for Paul Skeens in game number 2. You are going to get Ke Bryan Hayes back. He was penciled into the lineup last night going up against a lefty, now in Scooble in game 1. His addition is going to be really good for the team, potentially huge. He's an upgrade over Jared Triolo. Both guys elite third baseman defensively. We know that. Jared Triolo, probably one of the better defensive third basemen in all of Major League Baseball in his own right, but he's not Ke Bryan Hayes, who might be the best out-and-out defender in all of Major League Baseball. He's one of the best third basemen that we've ever seen defensively. So you're going to get an upgrade there. And then even if he's the guy that he was before he got hurt, he's a better bat than what Triolo has shown. Mm-hmm. You know, Triolo's come around a little bit, but you're going to get an upgrade there with Ke Bryan Hayes. Where this could take things to another level is if Ke Bryan does what he did last year coming off of the IL. When he came off the IL last year, he went on a tear.
Yeah, he was out of control.
Out of his mind. He was actually hitting the ball over the fence, not just hard. We know that he hits the ball hard. Is he going to get some loft under the thing? Mm-hmm. When he does, the ball can travel out of the ballpark and the extra base hits come, and that's what you expect from a corner infielder, a corner position player. You need power. If he's the guy before the injury, it helps you. Mm-hmm. If he's the guy that he was last year coming off of injury, you can add him into the lineup and you can say, okay, we've got something cooking here, I think.
Especially coming off the series that you just had. I mean that is a confidence-boosting series. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, you take 2 out of 3 against the Braves, and we talked about how the Braves are potentially going to be in contention for a championship this year. I mean, they have a great squad there. So you have some confidence, you have some momentum. You add Ke Bryan Hayes into your lineup. That just makes things, you hope, a lot better.
Yes.
You hope.
Because you just, when you're coming into the season, you pencil him in. He's your everyday third baseman. And the injury stuff has been really frustrating for him. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's frustrating more for him than it is the fans, but this is a guy that got paid, and you want him on the field. And he hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Where does he usually get penciled in the order?
I think he was going to hit 5th last night.
5th? Okay.
Yeah, I'll double check on that. I would also imagine he's not going to play the second game. Yeah. Right. Have him come back, play 2 games. It just doesn't sound like something that they would do. Yeah, last night's lineup, if they would have played the game, Kutch, Reynolds, Joe, Olivares, Hayes 5th, Nick Gonzalez, we love you, Nick, O'Neal Cruz, Yasmani Grandal, Michael A. Taylor, Jared Jones. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that's probably going to be the lineup in game 1 today. So Ke Bryan Hayes hitting 5th in the lineup. It's Cook, by the way. So we were dancing around it, but we did not get that one correct. Here's another text. 3 days was going to solve. 3 days was going to solve Rowdy Tellez. What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know. I was kind of animated yesterday when we were talking about this because it doesn't make sense to me. It's not like you're waiting for a guy.
It's money.
3.2.
I know, but I can't think of any other reason.
I can't either. Unless he's a great locker room guy that everybody loves him.
Well, so what?
I know.
So what? Like Austin Hedges was that guy last year, and there were,
He brought something to the table.
Yes, he was an elite level defensive catcher. Aside from like the weird catcher interference stuff, aside from not being great at throwing dudes out, the pitch framing, the handling of his staff, there were at least tangible reasons why he was a Pittsburgh Pirate for $5 million, by the way. Rowdy Tellez is a bad defensive first baseman who has an OPS under 500. I don't care that I don't care if he's $500,000, $10 million. This is a guy you give up on. And the thing is, even if you give up on him, and I've said this now ad nauseum repeatedly, if you DFA him, no one's taking him. No one's going to add that guy for $3+ million to their roster. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to try to work out a trade. There's not going to be a player to be named later. There's not going to be cash considerations. No one wants Rowdy Tellez. If you DFA him, he will go to AAA. And maybe he finds something there. And if he does, okay. If he doesn't, who cares? He's not doing it for you. So while you don't play him, you're wasting a roster spot. And if you do play him, you're caught between a rock and a hard place here. He actively tanks your chances of winning baseball games. There's no reason for him to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. None. And that Derek Shelton was on yesterday and saying, yeah, we unplugged him basically, so we figured it out. And you got Ben Cherington say he just needs to play so he can figure stuff out. It's just, sometimes the fans are right. We were right about G1 Bay. We were right about Nick Gonzalez. What's going on with Nick Gonzalez? Why are you waiting on Nick Gonzalez? Nick Gonzalez comes up here. He's transformed the offense. It's stupid.
Well, tell me if this is stupid. Do you think that they're waiting for him to find something so he puts something on tape so they could trade him? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out,
Any
too.
guess is legitimate because there are no legitimate reasons why you would keep a guy like this around. So, yeah, that's a fair guess. Fine. Sure. Of course. I mean, seriously. Here's what I don't... I'm done with this. I don't even hate Rowdy Tellez, like the ball player. Like sports hate. Like I don't hate anybody for anything, but sports hate, it would feel like just listening to the show, I hate the guy. I don't. I'm mad at management. I'm mad at Ben Cherington. I don't know how much Derek Shelton really has a say in this, but if he does, I'm mad at him too because it's just far too long. It's just far too long. It's ridiculous. It makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
You get 26 roster spots. One of them is being used on a guy that you don't want to play because he's got to figure it out by not playing. And then when you do play him, he's going to go 0 for 4 and ground into 2 double plays and account for 6 outs.
Unbelievable.
Stupid.
Unbelievable.